This is Henry O'Donovan here with Metro Business Media. I'm here with the CEO of Human Genome Sciences and their advertising marketing guy, Parrott. I'm going to ask them a few questions about their new drug that they just got approval for. It's the first lupus drug in the last 56 years. And I want to know why did you choose Maryland and Montgomery County as your base of operations?
Well, actually, the company was founded here in 1992. My predecessor, Bill Hazeltine, who founded the company, selected this area, and I can tell you that it was his view, and it's my view now, that this is a terrific area for science. You have great scientists at the NIH, at the FDA, at other government installations and areas around here. You have many small companies that are doing excellent work. So this is a superb area for attracting and retaining first-rate people in the sciences, but also now in many other areas as well. The bioscience community in Maryland alone is 400 companies, more than 400 companies. So you have now a great growth of talent here. And I would argue that Maryland and the Mid-Atlantic region compares favorably with other major bioscience hubs in the nation, such as Boston and Northern and Southern California. That's
great to hear that. And can you elaborate on why proximity to NIH and the FDA benefits your company or would benefit other companies?
Well, I'll take the NIH for an example. There's so many terrific scientists, postdocs that do work at the NIH, and then choose to continue their career in either starting their own company or in working in a larger company like ours. So the ability to attract talent, also the ability to collaborate with NIH people that are doing work inside the NIH is a great plus for our company. Now, I know you can do that if your company's a short plane ride away, but being close physically, I think, has a real advantage. It's very difficult to be a publicly traded company and be in the drug business that has very long time frames for development, very risky, particularly when, in this case, it was our first drug to market, and it was in a field that was viewed as very risky. So that was tough.
Along those lines, you've partnered with GlaxoSmithKline. Was there any interest from the company to buy out Human Genome Sciences, or?
We've been partnered with GSK, actually with SmithKline in the 1990s since 1993, and this now GSK partnership is one of those. GSK is a terrific partner. We love working with them. Our scientists work together. Our commercial people are now working together. So we're very pleased with how the partnership is proceeding, and are confident that partnership is going to be a major reason that Lynn Ballista will be so successful.
Because Maryland, one of the drawbacks that some other reporters or people in the region or in the biotech industry say that they don't have a large anchor independent company. They had MedImmune, but MedImmune was bought by AstraZeneca a few years ago. Are you positive, or is your goal to keep your independence? Keep yourself independent?
Our vision is for the company to be independent, but I would say MedImmune is a terrific company, and even after MedImmune's acquisition by AstraZeneca, their broad employee base,
larger now than it
much
was
larger than it was before.
That's true.
Multiples.
I would say Maryland, from a growth and employment standpoint, is well. MedImmune is an incredibly important part of that, even after the acquisition by AstraZeneca. So oftentimes companies that are acquired by others, from a growth standpoint of the employee base, can even be healthier after their acquisition. So MedImmune is a terrific, MedImmune/AstraZeneca is a terrific anchor here. We are a much smaller company. We look forward to becoming a profitable company in the next few years. But I certainly don't see our commitment to this area changing at all.
Okay, that's great to hear. You're actually the largest biotech company in the region by market cap. Measured by market cap.
If you look at it by market cap, that's true. If you look at it by employees, I would put MedImmune way ahead of us.
Right.
And I think you're raising a good point, which is for this area of the country to become an even more vibrant hub, it will be important for there to be more companies of size that are successful and so forth. And we hope on that path. But there are many small companies that I think have the opportunity to be the next company of size. So
And you have your beautiful headquarters not too far from here.
We're fortunate to have a leadership at the county level and at the state level that get it when it comes to the biosciences, what's important to build a bioscience community. County Executive Ike Leggett here in Montgomery County, very supportive of the environment, creating a good environment here. Governor Martin O'Malley and the administration in Annapolis is very supportive. And that's very important. You need support from the county and state level. They need to understand what's necessary to build a bioscience hub, and we certainly have that. Very fortunate.
Since we're at the Chinese Biopharmaceutical Association's event, do you have any Chinese operations or plan to expand in China?
Well,
more important things there.
We do have a close relationship with the Chinese Biopharmaceutical Association. In fact, I understand when the group was created in the 90s, it was some of our scientists that were among the pioneers that created the organization. So it's a long relationship. We have many Chinese employees that work with us. We don't have our own people on the ground in China yet. But we are looking closely at China, and it's obviously a very important market. It's a very important part of the bioscience worldwide community, so we are continuing to view China with considerable interest.
Your lupus drug got FDA approval in March, and you're looking for European approval on their side. How is that going?
U.S. approval, as you said, was March the 9th. Very excited about that, so we and GSK are launching the product right now in the U.S. And our expectation is for a European approval probably in the third quarter of this year, which will allow us to get the product with GSK into the market in Europe beginning later this year and extending into next year. So the global launch of Benlysta is continuing. There will be other countries that we will launch into also, but certainly the largest markets in the world are in U.S. and Europe.
Now, it was a very successful phase 3 study that you had, and you got approval, but there were some concerns about it not being effective in African Americans. How did you want to address that, or do you feel that it actually can go forward with
the important thing here is that the trials we designed, and the results we got showed effectiveness and safety on the drug as a whole. And the label for the drug in the U.S. does not exclude any patient groups. It does recognize that our trial did not include patients, for example, of severe renal disease and so forth. But in certain subgroups, there remains questions about the data. There's inconsistencies in what we saw in phase 3 versus what we saw in phase 2. So we're concerned about that, and we'll continue to study the drug in certain patient subgroup. African Americans is one in future studies.
So on that particular, so there will be a phase 4 trial specifically designed to resolve that issue.
Right.
Okay.
And the phase 2 study actually went kind of the opposite direction.
It was more positive than African Americans.
It actually was more positive. So it just shows the difficulties when you're looking at subgroup populations, of assessing the data.
So there is a difference in subgroup populations.
The problem here is one of statistics. You develop a hypothesis the drug will work, and you put a certain number of patients in your trial. You don't put enough patients in your trial to see if each individual subgroup will show the same. Subgroup meaning people of African American race or patients that might have other certain. So if you did that, your trial, instead of being 800 patients, would have to be 8,000 patients. So against the hypothesis that we wanted to test, the drug proved very well.
Okay.
But when you have these subgroup questions, they're not necessarily conclusions. You want to do additional studies, and we will. So it's not fair to say the drug doesn't work in African Americans.
Right.
It's fair to say that the phase 3 results at the subgroup level were inconsistent with the results of the phase 2, and that will require further study.
In fact, what the label says is insufficient data to resolve it.
Okay. The label does not tell prescribers not to use the drug in any particular race or ethnicity.
It says that you have a potential of getting $6 billion from this drug over several years.
Well, I would say Wall Street's fond of making projections. We would say the drug, from what we can tell, has great potential to help patients. We think it has the potential to be a blockbuster drug, $1 billion or more, and we'll leave it at that. Our first mission is to serve patients and to help patients, help physicians and prescribers to select the appropriate patients and get the drug to those patients. And Wall Street can do whatever they like in terms of projecting its future. But we're very optimistic.
And do you plan on raising capital?
We have no
from
current
that?
plans to raise capital. We continue to be in a cash burn mode as a company as we are investing very heavily on the launch of Benlysta and in the additional studies, but there are no current plans.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so
Good.
much for your time. I really
Thank you,
appreciate
Henry.
it.
Very nice to meet you.
And nice to meet you as well.